All right, guys, we're back. I'm George Mossey. This is my co-host, Marshana, Dahlia, 90 Day Fiance, Season 9, Episode 5. This is Part 2. So we're going to talk about the rest of the couple. So we saw Cara and Guillermo, and it was time for him to meet the rest of her family. He had already met her mother, and he was meeting her uncle, Mike, who is kind of her father figure because her parents got divorced early on, and then her dad actually passed away in 2014. And we learned that he's a private investigator. And Guillermo was a bit intimidated because in the car ride over, Cara was like, oh, well, he'll probably threaten to beat you up or, cause harm to you if you hurt me or whatever. That's normal. I guess Guillermo isn't really used to that type of intimidation. That's pretty normal. I know in America, people will say, oh, in the country, if you go over to a girl's house, the dad will take you out back and show you his shotgun, and just say, you're dating my daughter. I just want to let you know I do know how to use a shotgun. That it's wrong, but it's intimidation tactics. And I thought that he handled it pretty well. I feel like Cara probably should have put her family on notice and say, hey, this is a nice guy. He's not really able to deal with the threats. I felt bad for him.
Obviously, what's her name? Cara. Is another one. Let's put her with the side of the controlling Americans. She was the one who was pushing that narrative of they'll beat you up, they'll this, they'll that. He didn't really say that. The uncle really wasn't on that train. She kind of was egging it along because she wants to instill fear in him. So that says, if you don't do what I say, if you don't treat me good, if I just gotta go cry and cop a sad face to this guy over here, he'll beat you up for me. She needs that fear in him so that way she can use it to further manipulate and control him. We see a preview from next week where she was like, I do what I want. I don't know, with the drinking, he says she drinks too much and she falls down and she gets really drunk. She's like, I do what I want. His opinion doesn't matter. I'm like, keep that same energy when he wants to buy a computer, right? But you cannot be taking this avenue of, I do what I want. I can do whatever, but you have to do what I say and you have to listen to me and I control the finances and oh, it's our money. She is dangerous with a capital D. And this young man is not safe. But you know what? I think his head is on all the way straight. I think he's going to free himself of this baggage the moment that he can. And I am counting on you, Guillermo. Please don't let me down. Free yourself. This woman is controlling you and abusing you. And again, has sought out this relationship with someone much younger than she is from another country for leverage and control.
I think that laptop conversation was really when he saw what was going on in the relationship, and it clicked in his head because the look on his face when he said, so you're the boss, so you're going to control me, I think that's when he realized that would be a time in the future where he would separate himself from her. He just can't do it right now. All right, so let's jump over and talk about the new couple. So Patrick and Thais. We finally got to meet Thais. We met Patrick last week. So let's talk about Thais and let's do our first impression. So she's 25 years old. She's from Monte Claros, Brazil, and she's done a lot of modeling work. She's very close with her dad, Carlos, who she considers to be her best friend, and family is very important to her. So what do you think about Thais? First impressions, based on this little bit of information that we have.
I think she's just young, very not naive, but just young, just hasn't lived enough yet to kind of see and read the room and read the situation for kind of what it is. I think there was a push from the show's perspective, maybe from production side, to make her appear as if she's just one of these people who wants to come to America and say, oh, I don't want to live with this person and just kind of take over the house and control it. I disagree with that narrative. I think that she sees what, if you've been paying attention, we all see that his brother, what's the brother's name again?
John.
John is an alcoholic. Okay, allegedly. Okay, maybe I can't say he's an alcoholic, right? I don't know this for a fact. But there are some things here that we're seeing that looks a little alcoholic-ish.
10 a.m. drinks.
10 a.m. beers. And when you drink, it seems like you're getting fall down drunk. I mean, listen, I don't know. But if I'm a betting woman, my money's on the fact that you might. Okay, maybe you're not an alcoholic. That word is triggering. Maybe you abuse alcohol. Maybe. And I think because, Patrick said he speaks to Thais every single night. So even though she has not lived with them, I think she's seen and heard enough in the periphery that tells her this guy is a problem. Now I can understand why Patrick doesn't want to take, his brother out of his home. And I'm not suggesting that he does. I'm not suggesting that he does that. I'm just saying that I don't think that Thais is so far off and being entitled by saying, I don't want to live with John. I think she knows exactly what she's saying when it comes to that. And I think she knows exactly why.
Well, when you bring a woman over to be your wife, I've always believed, well, I was raised that when you bring a woman and you get engaged, you don't bring her to your parents' home. You make a home for you both. You make a home for her to come to. And yes, they're not married yet, but when they do get married, there should be a home made specifically for her and Patrick. So I agree with that. And I know it doesn't make sense in other cultures, because I know in other cultures the whole family stays together, even the grandparents. That's not a thing. But the way I was raised, when you bring home a woman, and it goes the other way around too, when you become in a relationship and married with someone, you make your own life. You separate from your parents and you have your own. So I kind of agree with her to an extent. And she's like, I came all the way here and I'm doing this for him. And I don't want to do that and live with someone else. And a lot of people who come over from the other countries feel the same way. And I think that the reason that she believes it is a little different from mine. But, when you live with people that you didn't pick, they're not a picked roommate. They're someone that came with the house or came with the relationship. There can be a lot of toxicity in that, because the person who was already there feels entitled to that place, and then you're just a guest. And then as a wife, you feel like this is your house and they're the guest. And there's going to be a lot of toxic back and forth. So I like her so far, and I haven't figured out what her intentions are, but she really seems to like Patrick. I don't see it as though she's coming over here because of what he can offer. And he can offer a lot. We've seen his home. We've seen his Tesla. We've seen his Rolex. He can offer a lot. She's never once mentioned anything that he's given her or purchased for her or promised to her other than being together. So far, I don't have any negative thoughts towards her relationship with him at all. I'm actually impressed with how much they like each other and talk every day, and they know each other, the different trips that he's taken to see her, the time that he's put in. Bilal proposed to Shida after 7 days. There was no time put in, no time to get to know each other. So I'm actually impressed with Patrick and Thais, because they actually know who each other are.
And they also learned each other's language. Well, she hasn't really learned English, but he took the initiative to learn Portuguese so that he could communicate with her. So I think of all the Americans on this season of 90 Day Fiance, I see a lot of effort and positive things from Patrick. The two red flags I see in this relationship would be John, who I think suspects might abuse alcohol. I could be wrong. And then the other piece of that is that she makes him share his location. She checks and checks and checks. She seems like she could be a little bit of possessive, a little bit, trust issues and things like that, which a lot jealous, which can be an issue. So, but other than that, I think they are the people who spent the most amount of time really trying to fortify a bond before just jumping in and saying, oh, this was impulsive, let me get married. And Bilal only proposed to Shida after 7 days and did the nikah because he wanted to sleep with her. He obviously wanted to appease his religion just enough so he could get what he wanted, but he has no intentions of really regarding her as a wife, in my estimation.
I actually agree with you. I feel like that's exactly what he did, because religion is clearly not the most important thing in Bilal's life. Yeah. It's money. All right, so let's wrap it up and let's talk about Eve and Muhammad. So on Muhammad's first day in the US, he woke up and noticed how quiet it was, but he was disappointed to find out that Eve was going to work. And we know that Eve is an independent woman. She has her own business and she's a mother and she has a lot going on. And she's like, I can't just take off and stay home and cater to you. And he expected breakfast in bed. He expected a installed bidet. And he's saying that he's kind of disappointed in the effort that Eve is showing. And I'm thinking, guy, she's a mother to a special needs son who needs 100% of her time all the time. And she also runs her own business. The time that you are able to get from her will be very minimal, because she is a very established, intelligent, professional woman. And I just don't see how this relationship is going to flourish into anything, because he expects her to wash his clothes, cook his food, cater to him. He just said, tend to my needs, were his exact words. And I was like, that sounds like what a mother would do for her son. No wife is going to, or girlfriend is going to wake up in the morning and tend to her man's needs, and she's a mother. Maybe if she didn't have any kids, maybe. But I just don't see where this is going to go.
Yeah, listen, of all the relationships that we're seeing unfold this season on 90 Day Fiance, this one brings me the most sadness and a deep, profound sense of just like empathy for Eve, right? Because she has her wonderful son, but like you said, has special needs. I think she said a couple weeks ago that he needs to be catheterized about every 3 hours.
Right.
And she has to work and she doesn't have support from her son's father. So she really does have her plate full. The last thing she needs is this man to come from Egypt and be another burden, someone else that she has to cater to in such a manner as though he is helpless and in dire need. He is not helpless. He is not in dire need. I understand you've never done it before. Now's the time to learn. Figure it out. And it's not that she kind of concealed her situation with her son. He was very well aware, of her son and what her situation was. So to still have those expectations, I don't care how you were raised. I don't care where you're from. I don't care what your mother did for you. If you have any kind of sense and any kind of brain and any kind of empathy for someone that you say you love, you would have understood a little bit, hey, I don't want to add to her plate. Now, here's the piece where I'm going to look at Eve and be like, Eve, you need to think clearly. She was like, I work all day. My son needs care. I would kind of hope that you'd be here in the home helping. He is not the person to care for your son. The end. If I've ever heard of a bad idea, this is it. Not everyone is called to be a caregiver to anybody. Okay, whether that's in old age, whether that's with a special needs child, whether that's with a partner that got sick, whatever it is. I really do feel like this is a calling. You have to be called to be a person who can be a caregiver. This man is a consumer of care. He is not a giver of care. I wouldn't leave him with my child. I wouldn't want him to accompany my child to the restroom. I would not want him helping to catheterize my son. This is a bad idea. Not that I think that Muhammad's bad in that sense. This is not a judgment on Muhammad. I'm just saying that's a tall order to ask of anybody. And especially you should not ask him. I think she needs like a visiting nurse service or some other kind of like home health aide who can provide the care that her son needs, but it's not Muhammad.
It's not. If anything, she needs somebody to take care of Muhammad while she's at work too. He can't really be taking care of anyone other than, I don't want to say other than, he can't even take care of himself. She needs to have a nurse there for Theron to take care of him and his needs, and she needs to have someone to just watch Muhammad and make sure he doesn't set the house on fire trying to cook. Because we watched last night, he is not anyway ready to be cooking meals or installing bidets. Everything is above his weight class at this point. On that note, that's it for part 2, guys. I am so excited for this season. We're only 5 episodes in, and this is all the drama that we've seen so far. I'm really excited to see what we have in store in the coming weeks. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And again, live tweet with us every Sunday night. The show is trending. There was a lot of award shows and other sports and MLB games as well. I'm George Mossey. This is my co-host, Marshana Dias Pavento. This is the 90 Day Fiance podcast, season 9, episode 5, part 2. Love you guys. Talk to you really soon.